Mohindra, it's such a pleasure to have you here. It's good to see you again. Would you, can I start by asking a simple question? Because for me, being a CS guy, I sometimes feel some things get hyped too much. So, but you have worked across the entire tech domain, right? Semiconductors, software, strategy, AI strategy. So, how do you feel companies are approaching AI? Like, if you summarize this, what do you feel? How do companies look at AI today?
It really falls in two camps, Nitin. I think there's one camp of companies that I have run across and continue to run across who are not yet sure about AI, and but their boards or the CEO are saying do something with AI, anything with AI, and they're kind of doing something. And they're the ones who are generally not seeing the types of results I cited. And they are the ones who are a little bit frozen because they're not sure if there is something in terms of a return to be made from this. And then there are companies who are doing it well. And when I were to distill it out, the companies who are doing it well really are doing four things uh, well and approaching it in a very algorithmic way, if you will. First, they are anchoring their AI strategy to their business strategy. And what it's not an abstract business strategy, it is being driven by what defines a company's competitive advantage as it competes in the marketplace, and laser focusing AI on those particular areas. For example, in Dell's case, Dell's talk was spoken about it publicly. Dell's strategy is anchored in its unique operating model, which has four elements: end-to-end product development, industry-leading go-to-market engine, global services presence, industry-leading supply chain, all sitting on a bedrock of culture. And those are the areas where Dell ended up focusing its AI use cases on. But it requires a very sharp articulation. So that's number one. Number two, they have spent time making sure that the data needed to extract the value from AI is in good shape, because you cannot do good AI on bad data. So that's the second step they have followed. And it's hard work, but that's the second step they followed. Third, they have taken a very methodical tops-down CEO or COO-led initiative. So companies who have succeeded have had that kind of a focus, just like at Dell, Michael Dell and Jeff Clark. Jeff Clark is the vice chair and COO. Dell personally drove that. Companies who have kind of said, well, my CIO, Chief Information Officer, or my CTO should be driving it, or some businesses should be driving it, and you figure it out, have not succeeded. So that's the third thing. And fourth, they have taken a very methodical change management approach to implementing it, because this is not a technology problem. This is still a human and organization problem first, which I'm sure will be music to all the people in the audience
HR
right
here,
now.
yes, of
But
course.
it is, I strongly believe that's true. Those are the four key things.
Next question, and this I think is something that, as HR people, primarily we all are HR people here. And one question that is always thought about is, where do you see AI as its trigger point? That means they are the first to go into AI. And where do you see HR fitting in? Like, when do you see HR coming into AI? I do see a good number of companies who are investing even in AI in HR. But where do you see it in the hierarchy? Where does AI start? Which functions? And when does HR become AI enabled or should become an AI?
The functions uh, the functions where they're very clear traction right now are tend to be around product development related to software, particularly software coding and software product development. Number two, customer service and operations is the second big area. And number three, which is less of a function, more a capability, is content generation and management, which generally goes across marketing, sales, and any other area that content goes into. Those are the three big ones that I consistently see companies embark on. Because when companies have not thought through which are the 3 to 5 use cases or areas they should focus on, because they don't have the business strategy clearly articulated, if you will, I tell them just start with these three. There's clear ROI. And then you should still go and anchor it to your fundamental business strategy. Those are the three areas for sure. Second one around customer care, operation, or sales also is when a customer calls looking to buy something. And then when you are selling a huge product portfolio, then again, recommending the right thing to the customer requires a lot of institutional knowledge and individual knowledge, not all of which you can bring to bear. That's another area where these AI tools and prompts can come in and really help you solve a customer's need very proactively. But very directly to your question related to incorporation of technology into HR, I think those technologies are available today to be incorporated, but it comes down to the choices companies make. So, for example, companies who are doing it really, really well uh, are proactively deciding where to first introduce AI and where not to introduce AI. So, even though they recognize that culture and HR is a hugely important element, they are sometimes making a choice and saying we are only going to incorporate AI into AI skilling prong of HR, not the rest of it, because we only have a finite bandwidth in terms of managerial capacity, in terms of data scientists, in terms of ability to clean the data up. We would rather focus that on our external differentiators first, and then we'll figure out how we onboard HR into it. And vice versa, there are some companies where culture is a hugely important element, and they're focused over there. So ultimately, AI tools will get into HR, but at what pace and when in sequence will come down to the decisions the company makes.
And if you're a business leader, like the manager, departmental head, what kind of AI skills would you recommend that these guys learn?
One of the things I keep thinking about with AI is reimagining. Because particularly with AI or agentic AI, which is already here and will get adopted much more readily, companies have a unique ability to reimagine their entire workflows and organizations. The old silos don't necessarily need to exist, meaning you don't necessarily need to have product management, product engineering, product marketing, sales. These agentic workflows allow people to break these functional boundaries and reimagine how work gets done. So for the lower level, from an L&D perspective, what it means is I think there are two things. First, there should be basic AI skilling across the whole company so everybody speaks the same language, for example, knows what the LLMs are, what SLMs are, what tokens are, what harnesses are, what agents are. Just like the one, two, threes and the ABCs, they need to know and speak the same language around AI across the whole company. And number two, they need to be given an ability to play around with these tools in a sandbox environment to understand what their capabilities are so they can reimagine how work gets done. And number two, they should aspire to at least use one tool in their daily workflows to make their life easier, whatever it may be. If it's about consuming a lot of reports, then use that tool to consume reports and summarize it. If it's about creating PowerPoint presentations, then use that tool to create it. If it's about modeling, use it, plugins like Claude for Excel and use those. So, but the more they use it, I think the better they become, because then in their receptiveness to these reimagined workflows that comes about from the others will increase significantly. Otherwise, they'll shoot it down. That's the way I would think about the role of L&D across these two types of cohorts.
One AI tool you personally use the most.
Claude.
Let's say you have a young nephew who approaches you and he's 25, he's just entering the workforce. What's the one thing you would like him to do as he enters the workforce?
Learn the capabilities of AI tools, cross-train yourself, and make sure that you take a fresh eye to how work can be reimagined with these tools, because that will help you stand out in the organization and have an impact.
One AI myth which you feel people think of frequently, which you feel is wrong.
That AI will be a net destructor of net jobs. I think in aggregate, AI will end up creating a lot of jobs, even though the time scales will be different. But AI will be a net producer of jobs, not a destroyer of jobs.
So just give me a single word, right, which comes to your mind.
Mhm.
So if I say AI, what is the one thing which comes to your mind? The one word which
Exciting.
comes to your mind immediately.
Exciting.
Exciting. All right.